Hello, this is Dr. Mercola, and today I want to talk to you about a common condition that many people struggle with, and that condition is constipation. Now, so many people only have 1 or 2 bowel movements a week, or even less, and that's just going to contribute to health problems in the future because all these toxins need to build up and accumulate, and then you recycle them in your bloodstream, and that's just not good. So ideally, you'd like to have at least 1 bowel movement a day, and preferably even 2 or 3 bowel movements. So if you're not having that that frequency, then what I warn and caution you against is using laxatives. Now, you may need some initially, but clearly the long-term use of this is they're just a prescription for disaster because they are not in any way, shape, or form addressing the cause of the condition. So you want to stay away from laxatives, especially the Cascara sagrada ones, which are Senna, which are going to really almost form like a drug-like action. So not a condition, but necessarily a variable or a factor when you have constipation is going to be that you're in an increased risk for developing hemorrhoids. Now, if you struggle with eliminating your stool, let me give you a simple bit of advice here, and that is you may want to reconsider the way that you are sitting on your toilet, and that is you may not be aware that in the 2 largest countries in the world, India and China, that many of these countries just simply don't have toilets for the bulk of their population. And that is they just have a hole where people sit over. And by doing that, sitting, and especially in this squatting condition, you're able to generate far more effective forces to expel that stool through the colon. And as a result of doing that, you radically decrease your risk of developing hemorrhoids. So that's something to consider. And you know, I've actually had the opportunity to explore this when I visited India recently, and interestingly, it's a very simple thing to do. Now, if you have a toilet, you could actually, there's devices that you can purchase that sit around the toilet that helps you get into this position, or you can even kind of squat on the toilet itself, at least until you get your bowel movements softer, and that's the key. So what are some of the variables that you want to consider when you struggle with hard stools? Well, one of them is, especially if you're a woman over 40, is to look at hypothyroidism. Now, I've done a video on this, and there should be a link for that video below here. But clearly, this is something you should be checked for because that's one of the hidden symptoms of hypothyroidism is constipation. So if you've looked at that and you have normal thyroid levels, then the next step, of course, is to make sure that you have enough fiber in your diet, and that's clearly one of the best things to help normalize your stool. And there's a number of different fibers you can use. One of the good ones are like the water-soluble fibers, and that would be flax. And flax, basically, if you're going to use that, it's best to purchase the whole organic flaxseed yourself, and then use a coffee grinder to grind a tablespoon or 2. And use that as a supplement in your food. Very good source of not only the fiber, but water-soluble fibers, especially lignans, but it also provides plant-based omega-3 fatty acids, which are really beneficial. Now, another fiber you can use, and actually one that I use pretty much every day, is psyllium. And psyllium is what we like to refer to as an adaptogenic fiber. In other words, that if you have stools that are too hard, it will help soften them. If you have stools that are too loose and you're going more than 3 times a day, then it will help reduce the frequency of your stool and actually help to form it. So it's a really good stool from that, good fiber from that perspective. And 2 other things that you can do is to make sure that you're getting enough exercise, because exercise will help stimulate the circulation, lymphatics, and help cause your bowels to move in the way that they were designed to. And lastly, I would highly recommend the use of a high-quality, good probiotic, because probiotics help to reestablish the balance of good and bad bacteria in your gut. And of course, if you're eating foods that are especially processed, then that's going to be another factor that will contribute to constipation. So you want to increase the amount of vegetable fibers, because I mentioned psyllium and flaxseed, but vegetables themselves are phenomenal sources of fiber that can radically improve your body's ability to form an appropriate stool. So these are the simple, basic things that you can do, and if you're doing these regularly, you should virtually eliminate the challenge you have with constipation or any reliance you may have on laxatives, which can be harmful in the long run. So hopefully this is the type of information that you and your family can use to take control of your health.